Hey everyone, welcome back. So finally, we're gonna start actually coding if and else statements. In the past couple of training videos, I've been actually just explaining them so we can actually get you familiar with the concept of the basics of it. But now it's time to actually put them to use. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start coding and we're gonna actually just do something very simple with it. So what I'm thinking is that we can make a code right now that is going to get some input from the user, which is going to be their height, and it's going to check if it's going to be over, let's say, a certain amount, certain number. It's going to tell them that they can join the school, and if it's not, if they're shorter than a certain height, they can't join the school. And in this case, we're talking about actually flight school, so that kind of makes sense. At least I think. Again, I'm not a pilot, so I wouldn't know for sure, but that's the idea. So we're just gonna kind of put it to use here and just show you exactly how it works. So the way this works is that, first of all, let's actually pull our print down. All right, so we're gonna say print welcome to the flight school. All right, cool. So we're gonna take their height. Obviously, that's gonna be the first thing. So we're gonna start with a variable, and then we're gonna make it into an integer, and then input, and we're going to say, what is your height in centimeters? All right, that should be easy, right? So far we already know this. So now let's put our actually if and else statements to use. So the way this works is that we are going to start with an if, and if you think about it, if you actually pay attention, when you start with an if, it immediately turns blue and a space, all right? And then we're gonna say height. So what we're saying, that if height is bigger or greater than, like, let's say a certain amount, in this case, we're gonna say 150, all right? And again, this is pretty much how you start building an if and else statement, guys. And you want to make sure you close it by, or like at least close this statement by using a semicolon. All right, so now if you actually add the semicolon, as you see, if you don't add it, it's gonna turn red, so that means like there's something wrong with it. But if you add it, it looks good, right? Now if I press enter, as you see, what's going to happen is that it automatically is going to indent it. See, we didn't actually end up going back here, so we're not here, right? If we actually go again, I press enter, it's gonna send me to the indent. It automatically indents the equation for me, essentially. So this is when okay, you are inside an if and else statement. So what we're saying, that if the height is greater than 150, what we're gonna tell them is, well, let's put a command here, right? So that would be the print, essentially. Print, you qualify for the flight school. Perfect, right? And now let's add the else, which means what happens when they don't qualify. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to press enter and I'm going to go back. So again, we are going to be on the same level as if. That's very important, okay? And then we're going to say else and semicolon, and if I press enter again, it's gonna put me in an indent one more time. See, guys, I'm in the same level as this print command. So if I put it right here, I'm gonna print one more time. I'm going to say sorry, you don't qualify for the flight. School. Sorry, my typing is not the best right now. So there you go. So that's pretty much it, right? So that is the basic form of an if and else statement. And if I run this, here's what we're gonna get. Again, welcome to the flight school. Let's actually make this a little bit bigger. So welcome to the flight school. What is your height? Let's say I'm gonna put 172, and it says you qualify for the flight school. Very simple, right? And if I do this one more time, let's put something that is not gonna be qualified. For example, 142. And it says, sorry, you don't qualify for the flight school. So that is pretty much it. That's a very simple form of an if and else statement. Now, I want to talk about a few other things, or just one more thing, really, one more topic before we close this and go to the a more complicated use of the if and else statement. what I want to show you is essentially the operators. Now this is very important. What you see here is an operator. If you pay attention, we got the larger or greater than the operator. Now in this case, for example, if I turn it around, it's going to be less than operator, right? So if height is less than 150. So these are operators, and so far we've seen a few of them. You know, we've seen like, you know, the greater, less than, all that, but there is actually a bunch of them that you can actually see. So if you pay attention here, we got the operator, which is greater than, we got less than, we got greater than or equal to. So think about it this way. This is actually pretty important. Or we got the less than or equal to. So the idea with this is that, let's go back to our code here. Let's say I want to accept people who are over 150 or 150. Because right now, if I actually run this code again, and I said 150, it's going to say you don't qualify. So what if you want to accept people who are 150 and above? So that's when the operator greater than or equal comes to play. So if you actually add this here, now what's going to happen is that if I run this one more time, and if someone is going to put 150, there you go, you qualify for the flight school. So essentially what we're telling the if and else statement is that we're going to, anyone who is equal or greater than this number is going to be qualified. So that is pretty much the idea of it. Now another important thing which can get a little bit confusing sometimes is the equal sign. Now I want you to remember this is very important, because sometimes you pretty much what you see here, for example, when we define a variable, we write the variable name and then we use an equal sign, right? So and then we go integer, input whatever we have here. But if you want to, let's say, define something, if you want to, for example, say if the height needs to be exactly 150, right? Let's say that what we want, exactly 150. You can't use that. If you just put a equal sign, that's just not gonna work. I see you get an error already, and it's gonna give you a syntax error. There you go. So see guys, so the way this works is that for you to actually go equal, exactly equal, you want to use a double equal sign. So I put it right here. You guys actually can access this PDF file as well. So a double equal, that means equal to in an if and else statement. And also there's a not equal sign as well. So let's say you want to say you don't want the height to be equal to 150. So if they're 150, they're going to not pass, and if they're anything else, they're going to pass. So let's run this actually one more time. Let's see. For example, if it's 150, there you go. It says you don't qualify. But if they, for example, are 145, they're going to qualify. So that means this is what it means, not equal. And right here, as I mentioned it. So just remember this. These are very, very important. These are comparison operators, and pretty much you want to know them, and you're going to be using them all over the place in an if and else statement. As I said, an if and else statement is pretty much the core of any programming language and core of any programming, any program that you're going to create with Python. So it's really important to remember the operators as well. So they're very simple. Just make sure that you don't make a mistake with the double equal, because that can get a little bit confusing sometimes when you are when you're writing code really fast. So just keep that in mind. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you the the if and else statement. Very simple. We're going to start with a really simple concept, because as you go down through this section, you're going to realize that how complicated if and else statements can get. So I want to start with something really simple. So in the next video, next lesson, I want to do an exercise with you guys, and we're going to do something really fun after that, and we're going to do something really, build something really interesting, so you can actually put this if and else statement to use. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.